Peace be upon you, dear viewers of Heartbeats for Allah, a 35-year-old woman's miraculous escape from a deadly fire. Friends, a 35-year-old woman, crying and pleading for help, desperately called out to people. The house she was in was completely engulfed in flames. Standing by the glass window, she frantically tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. The real question is, was she alone in the house? Or why didn't she escape immediately when the fire broke out? Did she not realize that the fire was spreading towards her home? People gathered below, watching her struggle in the fire, but no one had the courage to help. The house was surrounded by flames, and the door had already been consumed by the fire. No one dared to step forward and save her. But what happened next was beyond belief. Even the Jews had to admit it was a miracle. Miraculously, the woman survived, but what she said afterward was shocking and hard for many to digest. The Quran has always been a source of guidance and salvation. But how did an American Christian woman, trapped in flames, save her life through the recitation of the Quran? This story is more than just an incident. It's a testament to unwavering faith, resilience, and divine help. Friends, when we put our trust in Allah, He creates paths for us, even in the most impossible circumstances. Stay with us as we uncover how the recitation of the Quran shielded her from the flames and led to a miraculous escape. When the fire started spreading in California, authorities immediately declared a high alert. Residents were urged to evacuate their homes as the fire could reach them at any moment. The government issued emergency warnings through television and social media, instructing people to leave everything behind and prioritize their safety. Sirens echoed across the streets, and helicopters hovered in the sky, monitoring the spread of the blaze. While most residents managed to evacuate in time, chaos and panic could be seen everywhere. Families rushed to collect their belongings, children cried in fear, and elderly individuals struggled to keep up with the urgency. Firefighters and rescue teams were working relentlessly, moving from house to house, ensuring no one was left behind. However, amid this widespread evacuation, there was one apartment where a woman remained trapped. She wasn't alone. Her husband and 5 other family members also resided in the flat. Shockingly, while they managed to escape safely, they left her behind, sealing the doors and leaving her fate to the raging flames. Firefighting teams were working tirelessly, spraying chemicals using aircraft, and firefighters were risking their lives to control the blaze. Despite their best efforts, the fire engulfed the entire building, leaving no apparent way for survival. As the fire raged on, the intensity of the flames made it almost impossible for rescue teams to enter the building. The smoke had filled the corridors, visibility was nearly zero, and the heat was unbearable even from a distance. The firefighters, exhausted and overwhelmed, were starting to lose hope. Some rescue workers reported hearing faint cries from inside, but they couldn't pinpoint the exact location due to the thick black smoke surrounding the structure. Neighbors who managed to escape earlier were left in shock and disbelief as they watched the inferno consume everything in its path. They recalled seeing the woman earlier in the day, cheerful and unaware of the catastrophe about to unfold. Some wondered why she hadn't followed them outside when the evacuation order was issued. Did something hold her back? Was she trapped against her will? As authorities investigated, disturbing details began to emerge. It was discovered that the woman's husband and his family had left the building hastily without informing emergency responders that someone was still inside. Suspicion arose. Had they deliberately abandoned her? Rescue efforts continued with renewed determination as the fire chief declared it a critical mission to save any remaining survivors. But with each passing minute, hope was diminishing, and the air was filled with uncertainty and fear. Amid the roaring flames, a woman's desperate cries for help pierced through the chaos. People looked up in horror and saw her standing behind the glass window, frantically trying to break it with her bare hands. Tears streamed down her face as she pounded on the glass, hoping someone would come to her rescue. The smoke billowed around her, making it difficult for bystanders to see her clearly. Her muffled screams echoed through the burning building, sending chills down the spines of those watching from below. Some onlookers attempted to call out to her, urging her to stay calm, but their voices were drowned by the crackling flames. The fire was advancing rapidly, consuming everything in its path, and the temperature was rising with every passing second. Many in the crowd were paralyzed with fear, unsure of how to help. Emergency responders were immediately alerted, but reaching her posed a significant challenge. The stairwell leading to the third floor was already engulfed, and the fire had weakened the structure. Firefighters considered breaking the glass, but the intense heat and the risk of a sudden backdraft made it a perilous decision. Time was running out, and the woman's cries were becoming weaker. Half an hour later, the unthinkable happened. The woman, blindfolded, emerged from the burning building, screaming. Witnesses stood frozen in disbelief as they saw her walking through the raging flames without any visible injuries. She was chanting something loudly in Arabic, her voice trembling, yet firm. People stared in awe as she carefully stepped through the collapsing debris, seemingly untouched by the inferno surrounding her. As she moved forward, the flames seemed to part in a way that many described as divine intervention. Firefighters who had been trying unsuccessfully to enter the building watched in astonishment. Some of them rushed forward to pull her to safety, while others stood paralyzed, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. When she finally reached a safe zone, the rescue team quickly wrapped her in a blanket and gave her water. Her hands were trembling, and her lips were still moving, reciting what many later identified as Ayat-ul-Kursi, a verse from the Holy Quran, known for its protective and powerful significance. As they removed the blindfold from her eyes, she looked around in shock and relief, tears streaming down her soot-covered face. The moment she realized she had survived, a loud scream escaped her lips, and she collapsed unconscious into the arms of the rescue workers. What stunned everyone even more was the fact that, despite the intense heat and destruction, her clothes were only slightly singed, and her body bore no significant burns. It was as if she had been shielded by an invisible force, a force that she later revealed was her unwavering faith in Allah. This extraordinary escape left the crowd and rescue teams questioning the power of faith and prayer, compelling them to reflect on the miracle they had just witnessed. When she regained consciousness, tears streamed down her face as she revealed the horrifying truth. "My husband and his family wanted to kill me. They locked me in the room to get rid of me," she sobbed. "When the fire broke out, they struck me on the head and locked the door behind them. I screamed and pleaded for help for a long time, but then I realized that if I prayed to God, He would surely save me." She explained how, as the flames grew closer, she found the strength to blindfold herself and put her trust in Allah. "I was terrified," she continued, "but I started reciting Ayatul-Kursi. The moment I surrendered myself to God, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace, and paths began to open before me." Her shocking confession left everyone speechless. Many in the crowd whispered among themselves, trying to comprehend how someone could abandon their own family member to such a fate. Investigations later confirmed that her in-laws had conspired against her due to her interest in Islam. They saw her growing inclination towards the Quran as a threat and wanted to eliminate her before she could fully embrace the faith. Everyone present was stunned. Most of the crowd consisted of Jews and Christians, and they were astonished to hear her words. A man asked, "You know Ayat-ul-Kursi? Does that mean you have accepted Islam?" She replied, "Yes, I was deeply interested in the Quran and had started learning it. I was close to accepting Islam, which is why my family began treating me harshly. They didn't want me to embrace Islam, so they left me to die in the fire. But I believed in Allah, and today I stand here alive before you." People were amazed, but the most shocking event was yet to come. The 5 individuals who left her behind and escaped safely were on their way to a safe location when a spark from the fire ignited their car. Within moments, the vehicle was consumed by flames. Eyewitnesses described the incident as divine justice. The same people who plotted to kill her faced an unexpected end, while the woman they abandoned walked out alive. The woman's story spread across media outlets, drawing the attention of religious scholars and the general public. Many were left wondering how faith and unwavering trust in Allah can lead to miraculous outcomes. Friends, this story is not just about survival, it's about the undeniable power of faith. The woman's story serves as an inspiration to all of us, proving that divine help comes to those who call upon it sincerely. Stay tuned as we bring you more such inspiring and thought-provoking stories. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do so now and stay informed about events that shape our faith and perspective.